Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the CJ Show. My name is Chirag Joshi, and today we have yet another creator with us in this Creators Edition. This is episode number 15, and I have with me Mr. Saurav Arya. He runs a couple of businesses, around hotels and hostels, and a lot to do with art and travel. He's an avid traveler. He calls himself the Digital Nomad. And we'll know more about it. But it was incredible seeing the kind of businesses that he runs. A couple in Koramangala, Bangalore, of course, close to my place, which is great to see. And it's an interesting person. I've never come across a person like you who calls himself a digital nomad as such, and has such a vibrant lifestyle that most people would not know if is even possible. So, before anything, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to the community, and then we can take it from there.
Sure. Thank you, Chirag. It's a pleasure to be here on your vlog. And yes, I'm always happy to share about digital nomadism because it's still in a very early stage, especially in India. Yeah. And I can see that the future of living is digital nomadism. I see that many young professionals, they are choosing this lifestyle. And definitely the way we are living and working is changing. I mean, 9 to 5 is not the only way to live your life. So yes.
Yeah, that's great, man. So, talk to me about how you sort of stumbled upon this kind of lifestyle when you had a 9 to 5 yourself, and how has that sort of brought you closer towards your passions, and of course, live life more fulfilled and happy as a whole. So, talk to me about that.
Sure. Yes. I stumbled upon it. After my graduation, I got my first job in a small village in Italy where I was working into operations, and I used to travel during weekends. But then I got a chance to travel around Europe, and I felt that it's definitely much better to travel than to sit in the office, of course. And then that was the time when people started to talk about location independence. Tim Ferriss wrote a book, 4-Hour Work Week. So I felt that, I was slowly getting interested into that lifestyle, and I was kind of exploring, if that's possible. And after 5 years of 9 to 5, I took a gap year in 2012. I call it a year full of Sundays. Yeah. I decided to live 1 year without having any boss, any subordinate, just go with the flow and see how it goes. And by the end of the year, I felt like that 1 year was so full of experiences that I felt that I lived 10 years in that 1 year. And then I got a bit serious about nomadism. Then I got a bit serious about...
Which year was this?
That was 2013 beginning. Okay. So then I felt that, is it possible to continue this travel? And after reading 4-Hour Work Week and a couple of books by Chris Gillibo, I felt that, all right, let's give it a chance. I have nothing to lose, and I would really like to continue my travel. And that was the time when I decided to start this quest to visit all the countries. It was very ambitious, but then I thought, all right, okay, let's see how it goes. And traveling on an Indian passport is not very easy. Still there are many countries where we have to, where we are not certain if we will get the visa or not, and it's a struggle. So yes, but I decided to give it a chance, and I decided to have some lifestyle businesses which could allow me to travel and work remotely. Sure. So I started with a content design agency, which allowed me to work from anywhere, and I set up a remote team who could help me with the work, and that went all right. That went well, and it was a very early days of digital nomadism. So still, I was struggling with many things. It's not very easy to be on your own all the time and be motivated to work for yourself. But then, fortunately, I got in touch with the global community, and a lot of nomads were moving to Southeast Asia, and nomads were setting online groups and Slack groups, and all those things helped me. And after a year or two, I felt that, all right, this is it. I don't need to get back to 9 to 5. Yeah. This is it. Yeah.
Awesome. That sounds good. It sounds like an interesting concept, and of course, in India, it's still the early days. A lot of people aren't. I'm not sure how many people are aware of it. But I have a question. Is it possible to be a digital nomad while, not having businesses, but just working for someone? Do you think the workforce has evolved in that way that allows digital nomads to grow Do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is what I see is that it's not that you just have to work for yourself, but you can find so many businesses which will allow you to work remotely. So many businesses are choosing to be remote because they can save money in their setup costs. They don't need to have physical space. Also, they can hire the best talent from anywhere from the world. So yeah, I mean, we are soon going to see that as a by default option for businesses. You know, a lot of businesses are choosing to go remote. I mean, they have all the reasons to. Not just that, I have also seen many employees who convince their boss to let them work remotely because they can show that, you know, I'm more efficient. I'm more efficient. I'm just getting work done. So I think we are done with the time when, you know, your boss would expect you to be in the cubicle and you know, be in front of them. All they care about is work to be done. So definitely, and you know, it's 2020, and it's the question is not whether you're working remotely or not. We all are working remotely. You know, it's like we're always on the phone and, you know, answering to mails. The question is how much. You know, and I feel that if you're great at it, it's amazing, because then you can have multiple side hustles and you can manage multiple businesses at the same time.
Makes sense. Another, I don't know if it's a controversial question or not, but you know, I think the older folks who are, of course, running the companies and are in leadership positions, they have this thing that this generation of, you know, our generation, or at least my generation, okay, of, you know, millennials or whatever you call this, are not really loyal to companies, and they switch every 1 year or 2 years. Do you think digital nomadism brings in non-loyalty towards companies, or is it the opposite, or is it better or worse? Like, how does it work? Here's my take before you go on it, okay? I think, you know, being a digital nomad and working for a company allows you to work for your best company without traveling to that country or place. You can still be at home and work for the company you always wanted to work. So in my you know, thinking, I think it will increase loyalty by, you know, matchmaking the people with the companies without physically moving and, you know, being interacting with each other. That's my take. What's your take?
I mean, I see, I agree, and also I see that I feel career is dead. You know, we are done with the time when you have to stick to just one vertical throughout your life.
You have to have a bag of skills, and, you know.
And I can see that people are trying to, I mean, they want to experiment, and they are trying different fields because they want to do justice to who they are. You know, I mean, there is so much to do, so much to learn, so much to experience, and there is no reason why you should stuck to one job if you are not feeling very okay about it, if you are not enjoying it, right? So I feel that we are living in a time where both the employees as well as employer both are on their toes. You know, you have to actually you know, you have to prove that you are ideal. You know, both the employees as well as employers. You know, it's like, it's not that employees will just stick to you because of you are a multinational or if you are paying them good enough. I feel that many employees, I don't think that money is that big a motivator for people to stick to their businesses. Now we're living in a time where people want to they want to experience different things, and they are going for it. They are okay to venture into unknown, and they have so many options that they have no reason why to stick to one job at all.
I think that's interesting. You said expressing yourself. So I think careers, or, you know, like earning a living has now evolved of not just earning a living, and that's a lot to do with the times we live in. You know, of course, you know, in the days gone by, at least in our country, you had to stick to a job because you have to earn a living. The economy is not, it's all great, but I think now people are looking at jobs or careers or anything to earn a living to express themselves. You know, if people aren't able to express themselves well enough in workplaces, no amount of money can keep them there, right? So in a way, it's people pursuing their passions through the jobs, right? And not sticking to one and having a mix of that. And that's, and honestly, I just put out a post yesterday that talks about, you know, art, you know. So it was a line from Gully Boys asli hip hop song. So it's kalakar mein kal ko aakar doon, you know. So, you know, it got me thinking that, you know, that's what art isn't about dancing or poetry or just that. Art is about, for me, art is anything that a person, you know, throws himself into and gets insanely good at it, and then and gets an avenue to express his complete self. and I think that's what art is for me. So with that, like I'd love to know, like what I get it, your digital nomadism is a kind of art for you because it allows you to be yourself more authentically than in a 9 to 5. But you spoke to me about poetry and stuff, so tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So yes, as a student, I used to write poetry. I kind of stopped doing it for a couple of years, but now I feel I'm getting back to it.
Yeah.
So I love sharing my stories in the form of poetry and posts. So yes, I agree. It's like art is nothing but it's just a way of expressing yourself. Be it in written form or you're performing or you're singing, dancing. So yes, I see that once you are set free, once you are no more into 9 to 5, you have more freedom to express yourself. You don't have anyone you are answerable to, or you are not part of a block.
Yeah.
So yes, I can see that so many digital nomads, they're good at expressing themselves.
Yeah.
And they're free to do whatever they want to. So it definitely goes hand in hand.
Yeah. Awesome. So I think a part of you slips into your businesses as well. As you said, the day we met, you've opened up art space about your travel in this space. So you're trying to build ecosystems that make artists come alive and come together, and building a space and cultivate just art in general, right?
Yeah. Also, see, what I feel is that one thing that travel taught me is that all of us, we are just mediums, and things happens through us. So a lot of things that we do is nothing but some kind of inspiration we got somewhere. So a lot of art that we have here, we are sitting in small world, and a lot of art over here is what I got inspired from when I was in South America.
Okay.
All right. So
those the ones on the stairs, right?
Yeah.
The Rio de Janeiro.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's one. The one art that you see in the other event space, that's from Bogota.
Okay.
So yes, I think that we are constantly, when you are on the move, you'll be meeting different people, you'll be at different places, and you can't help it but be inspired by things that you see, and it will come out in one form or another.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what has happened. Like the other space that I started, which is Workspace, which is a hostel for digital nomads, solopreneurs, and freelancers. A lot of idea came when I interacted with nomads when I was in Central and South America, and I felt that yes, we do need a co-living plus co-working space specifically for our tribe. So yes, I mean, everything I do is nothing but some kind of inspiration that I got from one place to another. And I believe that it really doesn't matter where you take things from. What matters is where you take it to. So
that's a t-shirt. That's
yeah.
a t-shirt. That's a good. Yeah, I mean, man. I think it does make sense to I mean, you can't really help. Yeah, you can't really help not being inspired by things around, because so much is happening these days, right? So yeah, so that brings us to the segment of the OG segment of this video that we do, which is I put out a lot of content, and that's one of the things. For me, I think art, what science can't do, art does that. Okay, like what you can't express through bits and megahertz and watts and kilowatts are in my field, which is electric vehicles and sustainable mobility. I try to do that. For some reason, I have no clue why, but I think art propagates the message farther and louder than anything else, right? Yes. So that's the reason what I try to do on my channel is that I read a lot of stuff about electric vehicles, of course, but my whole thing is how do we get people talking about it? And one of the ways to do that is to express it in a way that catches people's imaginations and eyes. So we put out a ton of content, crunching down huge articles into one post and all of that. So I'd love for you to pick out any two posts that you like, and then we'll sort of go through them, and I'll tell you what they're all about, and then we can have a chat on that. So here's the thing, you can choose any two like we'll go one by one, and we can I'll tell you all about it. Anything. Yeah, you can choose a post. Anything, whatever catches your eye.
Alright, so alright, how about this one?
Okay. So you want to watch the whole thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Oh wait, we don't have. Okay. Anyway. So this post is about the Dakar Rally. Have you heard of it?
Yes.
Are you aware? Awesome.
I got to know when I was in Bolivia.
Okay.
I was in Salar de Uyuni,
Uh-huh.
and there I saw. I mean, I read about Dakar Rally.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it passed through that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, so the Dakar Rally is probably the most gruesome sort of, automotive championship that there is out there in the world. It's only conducted in harsh conditions and it's a really an off-roading event, right? So it's of course made for the toughest cars in the world. Now this post, okay, is so I came across an article where they were sort of, trying to open an electric vehicle sort of championship only as a Dakar Rally. Okay, so now typically the perception around electric vehicles is that they're toyish, they can't really handle much. They're definitely not meant for off-road and all of that stuff. So these are notions that have been there and now are being addressed. But this was a huge push because Dakar Rally is so insane. I mean, like, good internal combustion engine vehicles don't last. Then for electric vehicles, it just takes it a notch higher, right? So what we wanted to tell through this post was that Dakar is trying to consider an electric vehicle only championship in the Dakar, which was a huge, I mean, like, for the industry and for the perception of electric vehicles, it's a huge positive, benchmark for that to happen. So in the post, what we did was, I mean, like, right now I can't play it because like it's on airplane mode, but so you see this is the Dakar logo, right? And what you have is just like how you have a trademark symbol on top, we have the EV thing that pops up. Okay, I can't really show, I'll show it to you afterwards, but yeah, that's what the post is about. So we do try to do things like this, 2 seconds, that's what it takes, right? It's like a GIF, it's there and then the thing pops up, right? So it catches people's imagination, and then we sort of, I write like a good description about it, and that's how I tell them about what it is. So catch people's attention and then tell them what it is and try to engage with them. So that's how we do it on our channel. Yeah, we'll go with the next one.
Alright. Alright. Okay. I mean.
Okay. Okay, so I mean, this is just like a meme. It's more to do with me than anything else. Okay, so as you can see in this is the classic, the guy disloyal man meme. I think that's what it's called, right? So it's basically to so on the channel, I sort of transitioned from just talking about EVs. I had a different personal account, okay, before this. I had 2, okay, but then at some point I was like, you know what, I need to let go of one of these accounts because I can't. I wanted to bring all of it in one place. So I let go of my personal account and came all into this. So one of the things I tried to do initially was to, start showing my intentions and my belief systems and all of that. So this is basically just how the man's cheating. So I mean, yeah. So basically, weird. I am the man. Whoever I'm holding a hand is the 100-year-old industry, which is the internal combustion industry, and there's this fledgling EV industry with a ton of issues. So I'm more interested in her rather than who's with me. So and the I've written happily cheating and all of that. So these are like fun things that we try to do. Again, try to get into culture because meme culture is huge. So I try to try to bring in that aspect as well, because I'm telling you, one of the highest things that sort of get likes on my page are these memes, but it's hard to sort of generate memes in my sort of thing, but I try my best, and something like this really works. So this is what it was, happily cheating as much as I can with the industry that's just fledgling. So our industry, I don't know how much. Do you follow electric vehicles? You just arrived in front of me in a Bounce Electric, so I was proud on that as well. Yeah, and you use a Yulu, so that's great.
I always use Yulu. See, it's like I had a brief stint with sustainability. So I was working with a supply chain traceability company, and we were working to make the supply chain more traceable, so that end customers can make more informed decisions. Mm-hmm. So that was my involvement with the sustainability. That was for 2 years, and then yes, I'm a big anti-car person. Okay, so I decided never to have a car in my life. All right, because I felt that the cars are anti-city.
Yeah.
So I read about it, like how initially all the bazaars, the city was made out of a public spaces where you can easily walk around and see things and buy things. All right. And when with the advent of car, it's like you are blocked, you know, you don't interact with each other. And also, like, I really don't like how you know, car has been made a status symbol, and you know,
Oh, you touched on something very deep into my heart.
so
Trust me.
yeah, so I don't relate to that at all. And you know, I mean, one of the thing I realized in US is how much emphasis it is on, you know, having a car and being independent, you know, and which I don't relate to at all. I mean, I prefer those places where there are public transport. You know, Europe has a good public transport system. So yes, that's my that's where I'm coming from. So definitely here in Bangalore, especially in Koramangala, I feel that electric vehicles is the way to go. And when you can easily make use of the YOLO and bounce, why to have a vehicle at all? I mean, I never had any car in my life. I mean, I'm still gonna stick to it. I don't think I will ever buy it because I don't feel it makes sense at all.
That's good. I mean, that's what you just touched upon is a rising sentiment among a lot of young folks, because the status symbol part, that's wearing away. You know, no longer do I see people around placing their self-worth on a piece of metal that they bought. Okay, so I don't think that's neither a good and healthy thing to do for the human being in itself, and also for the environment. You know, like, how much are you gonna clog the cloggers here? And Bangalore's already sort of gained the fame of the world's most congested city. You know, a week or two back the article came out. It was devastating, man. It was devastating to see that. And as you said, true, man, like public transportation. But to be honest, you know, the part where you said independence and all of that, yes, transportation is absolutely crucial for human beings, you know, to move around and all of that stuff. We're still in the transition from private transportation to, you know, public transportation. So the shift that's happening right now in the revolution that we call, that I'm sort of, you know, trying to be a part of, is how do we move people from you know, private internal combustion engines that pollute the environment to more clean, connected and shared transportation. And it's a massive change. Okay, so I think the first leg of change is happening from internal combustion engine to electric, but with that wave riding is the way people own cars, with the way people interact with, you know, transportation in general, and just the rise of public transportation once again, right? Cars have just dominated in the last 100 years, but prior to that it was, you know, more of public transportation, people, whatever. There was carpooling back in the day with horse carriages, you know. That's where we're moving towards. And I really see a world free of just people owning cars, because it's insane, to be honest, you know. Like, I have people who have like 4 cars and there are 4 people in the home. I'm like, what do you even do? Are you not a family that you have to travel differently? But these are some things that we do on our channel, and that I speak very passionately about.
So since you have been into this space for long, and I'm sure that you have a lot of insights that you would like to share with us. So do you see that in future we will have moving spaces? For example, like if you're working from a co-working space, it can be a moving space.
Like the home can move?
Right, yeah, something like that.
Where do you see? Yes, that. Okay, it might not be a home. It might just be like a movable, like a caravan sort of thing, you know. Sure, I think that can happen. I don't know what form will it take, but here's what I think. Okay, now public transportation, right? Hopefully cities are arranged in a way where, you know, there's the suburbs where people stay, and there's the main city where the offices are. So it's a long commute. Even right now, if people travel from here to Whitefield and Electronic City, huge traveling, right? So I think the mediums in which they travel, the buses though, they'll start, and I think companies will get smart if they wanna really churn out efficiency. What they're gonna do is they're gonna bring in these buses or whatever they wanna call it in a way that allow them to be remote workstations, so that by the time they reach office, they've already covered like an hour of work already, right? And I honestly, I mean, like, this pops up in my imagination once in a while, but I do think that happening, and I think it's the coolest way.
Right, exactly. Also, that's great. Also, what I see is that being a digital nomad and empowering others to live a nomadic lifestyle, and since you write and vlog about sustainable transportation, I think that we are trying to solve the same problem, which is the decongestion in the city, right? Yeah. So, you know, I see that how much difference it makes in people's life if they choose to work remotely, you know. So I would say that digital nomads are a subset of remote workers. Remote workers is a much bigger domain. But like, when of course, like once you learn how to be remote, then you can also choose to be a nomad in case if you want to, right? So I definitely see that city like Bangalore, we definitely need remote workers. We need remote workers, yes. And I mean, doesn't make sense for people to commute 3-4 hours every day. It's just wastage of their time, you know. So yes, that's great that we are trying to solve the same problem, and it's great.
Yeah, it's fun, you know. Like, I mean, as this is my belief all around, that's the reason I do this, you know. I truly think like the people like you who are, you know, who are more in touch with themselves, I just call that, you know. Of course, art is a part of it, and you know, expressing yourself is a part of it. I think, yeah, expressing yourself is the biggest part of it. People who are people like you are the people who sort of think more about these things, and not just think, you try to make it happen, right? There's the part where people just think and all of that, but tangibly making happen through business, I find that the best, you know. I like the marriage between art and business. I like to be on that sort of, you know, edge. It's the greatest way to, you know, sort of do something.
Yes, I have a point to make here. See, I feel that everyone who is stuck in 9 to 5, they're like Monday to Friday they're high on coffee, and Friday to Sunday they're high on beer. So, you know, they hardly have time to think about anything at all. They're blocked 24/7, all days, every day. So I feel that once you kind of get out of the matrix, you know, you'll definitely start thinking about what your passions are. What you said reminded me of the time when when I started traveling, and I was meeting different people, and whenever I'll meet someone, I'll ask them that, hey, what's the one big thing you would like to do before getting old, dead, or tired? You know. And when I met some people who are working as 9 to 5 in IT, they were like, what are you asking? I never thought about my passion. It's because they never had time to think about it, right? So I feel it's very important to give yourself a breather, give yourself time, and that will come only once you choose to be your own boss, or you know, like have a setup where you have a good work-life balance, you know. So yes, like I see that it all starts from giving yourself time, and you know, it's like it's not just for the environment. You're doing yourself a favor by choosing this lifestyle.
The whole environment part, I get it. Yes, it's the need of the hour, you know, but I almost never try to push the agenda of, hey, you need to start thinking of sustainably because it's good for the environment. You know, just forget about yourself. I never try to do that. You know what? That's one of the things why I said business is the carrier of, and the thing that actually makes a tangible impact. Because I try to tell this to all of the people working in my industry, that you know what, do not try to convince them on the fact that it's good for the environment. Try to convince them on the fact that it's going to make their life better today. You know, that's a selling point. Nobody's interested that it's going to save the planet 1,000 years from today. And to be honest, the planet safe, we're the ones who are going to get fucked, you know, if we don't take care of the planet. That's honestly what it is. So yes, I do think this whole thing makes sense. And thank you so much, man. It was a pleasure, doing this with you, and digital nomadism. I learned a lot. I hope you guys learned a lot. You know, this is Saurav Arya. Check out his. I'll link all of his handles, you know, in the description, and you can get in touch with this guy. Cool dude, and lots of fun. I hope we do this more and more. Awesome. Thank you. See you guys. Bye bye, and I'll see you guys in the next one.